Oh, it is on. Good. Are we all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed? Yeah, me neither. All right. It is not by chance that you have arrived here in this community. You may have been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there may be a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so, at some point, you began seeking a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love or around children, a community that holds its arms open to possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. Welcome home. Come, let us worship. I just got to say something. Brian, that song you just did, so one of the hymns you just did, Fire of Commitment, is thought to be one of the most complicated musically songs in the hymnal that even the composer says has too many notes, and you just did more to it. It was beautiful. Just had to say that.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jason, and I will be your worship associate today. This is a welcoming congregation, and we're always working on how to better welcome and care for one another. If this is your first time here, welcome. We're so glad you've come. And whoever you are, we welcome you in the fullness of who you are. As we begin, we want to acknowledge that this church occupies land in Huchin, the unceded territory of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people. We understand that we continue to benefit from the seizure and occupation of this land. We acknowledge and embrace our responsibility to take restorative action. We affirm that this is deeply felt and embrace our responsibility. that this is deeply felt, and our congregation is committed to being in right relationship with Indigenous communities, aligning in solidarity, supporting Indigenous projects, and caring properly for the land. Now, let us kindle our chalice flame with these words by Don Skye Cooley. We light our chalice this morning, grateful for the love that we experience in this beloved community. May the flame light the way for all who seek such abundance. We also pause to remind ourselves of some of the foundations of resilience. With Reverend Michelle, we light a candle of courage. We light a candle of acts of service, a candle of fellowship, and we light a candle of hope. May we find and cultivate these foundations of resilience in ourselves and in one another. And now, please rise in body or spirit to join in singing our opening song, Make Channels for the Stream of Love. It's number 299 in the gray hymnal, and the words are on the screen. Please remain standing and join me in saying our covenant. Love guides this church. The quest for truth and justice is its common purpose. To give thanks, listen deeply, speak with care, honor our differences, and seek and grant forgiveness. These things we covenant with one another. Please be seated.
Let's invite our young ones, young in body or young in spirit or young in mind or young at anything, to please come to the front for our time for all ages. There we go, it's on. All righty. Yeah. So, have any of y'all ever, I don't know, made up a story, exaggerated something? No, never? They tell me they've never done it. All right, good. That means we can do it together for the first time you've ever done it, right? So sometimes we pay attention to things, right? Yeah. My boyfriend came into my office this morning and went, wait, was that little lamp there for long? I just put it up 2 days ago. He's very observant. So I'm wondering how observant you are. So let's see. On your way to UUCB this morning, did you see anything? Yes, what'd you see? You saw trees. Okay, let's see. They weren't just any trees, were they? Were they big pink truffula trees? Okay, on the way to UUCB, we're going to have to remember this because this story is going to keep on going. On the way to UUCB this morning, we saw great big pink truffula trees, right? Did anybody else? Yes. Okay, what else did you see? You saw houses. Okay, couldn't have been just houses, though. Let's make it more exciting because church is exciting to come to. Okay, so let's see. How can we make these houses exciting? Anybody have any ideas? Heaven saw houses covered with rain that was growing 6-foot flowers around them. So let's see. On our way to UUCB, we saw giant pink, help me out, truffula trees. We saw houses covered with rain that was watering 6-foot flowers. What else did we see? We saw people building 50-foot tall houses. Yeah, you saw that, didn't you? You didn't? I did. It was exciting. Okay, so let's see. On our way to UUCB, we saw giant pink truffula trees. We saw houses covered with rain with 6-foot flowers. We saw people building houses that were 50 feet tall. Okay, what else did we see? Yeah. The trees had no leaves. Okay, let me get back to trees. Oh, cotton candy trees. The houses got dirt on them. Didn't the rain wash that off? Oh, dirt that's impervious to rain. Oh, that's some exciting dirt there. And cotton candy trees, and what else? Oh, the trees had buds and cotton candy, or cotton candy buds? Both. Okay, excellent. What else do we see? We saw hummingbirds. Have y'all ever seen hummingbirds? Did you know their wings go so fast and their heart goes, what is it, like 250 beats a minute or something? Yeah. Hummingbirds. Millions of hummingbirds you saw on your way here today? I hope they were hiding from the rain. What else did we see? We saw white bulbs with chocolate on them. Now, all of this being said, it is exciting to come to church. What do you get excited to come to church for? For real? Yeah, what do you get excited for? Just seeing the light break. What else? Going to choir with Miss Katie and learning how to sing new songs. Yeah. What else? What do you get excited about coming to church for? Because you see all your friends. What else? Anybody else? Brian, what do you get excited coming to church for?
Kind of what he said. I like to see all the people. I love you all.
All right, so there's exciting classes. We're going to get to sing you to them now. And Brian, will you tell us what we're singing them to classes with? from you I receive. So let's sing our kids to their classes.
On a sleepy, endless ocean, when the world lay in a dream, there was rhythm in the splash and roll, but not a voice to sing. So the moon fell on the breakers, and the morning warmed the waves, till a single cell did jump and hum for joy, as though to say, this is my home, this is my only home. This is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Then the moon shone bright and round her, till the one turned into two, and the two into 10,000 things, and old things into new. Then on some virgin beachhead, one lonesome critter crawled, and he looked about and shouted out in his most astonished drawl, this is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Then the sky was buzzing, and the ground was carpet green, and the weary children of the woods went dancing in between. And the ripples sang rejoicing when their fields were clad with grain, this song a celebration from their cities on the plain. This is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Now the smoke across the harbor, and there's factories on the shore, and the world is ill with greed and will and the enterprise of war. But I will lay my burdens in the cradle of your grace, in the shining beaches of your love and the sea of your embrace. This is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden.
So that Time for All Ages, by the way, was inspired by Dr. Seuss's first published book ever, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. Love that book, and not many people have heard of it. So for our time of meditation this morning, I would like us to engage in a responsive reading of sorts, where I'll say something, and then you will, here, let's get it up on screen, the next slide. There we go, and you will apparently sayeth, no one is outside the circle of care. So go ahead and practice that. Oh, love, you're right. Circle of love. Thank you. Our pastoral care team actually talks about the circle of care, so my brain got it mixed up. No one is outside the circle of love. We know that hurt moves through the world, perpetrated by action, inaction, and indifference. Our values call us to live in the reality of the heartbreak of our world, remembering that we who are Unitarian Universalists not only affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, we also affirm the inherent wholeness of every being despite apparent brokenness. We know that things break or break down: promises, friendship, sobriety, hope, communication. This breaking happens because our human hearts and our institutions are frail and imperfect. We make mistakes. Life is messy. With compassion as our guide, we seek the well-being of all people. We seek to dismantle systems of oppression that undermine our collective humanity. We believe that we're here to guide one another towards love. No matter how fractured we are or once were, we can make whole people of ourselves. We are whole at our core because of the great, unnameable, sometimes inconceivable love in which we reside. Let us join now in a time of silence. Amen. Let us join now in singing. Please remain seated for our meditative song. For the past month and a half or so, towards the end of the service, you've been hearing from different UUCB members on what they value and cherish about this congregation and about Unitarian Universalism. Today is a special service because you'll get to hear more deeply from 4 different members about what they find here that they treasure. Before we get there, though, I asked everybody last week, and many of you wrote it on index cards, what you love about UUCB. I said some of the answers. You want to see? You want to see them? So this is a word cloud, and the words that occurred more frequently are bigger than the others. Notice which ones are bigger? People, friends, community. Somehow the food got mentioned a few times. And absolutely the music as well. Chalice circles was pretty big. Our fabulous rubber trees in the atrium, they made it too. And many other things. So I thought you'd appreciate seeing. That's what everyone shared, and that was top of head. I did notice, and Paul Hudson, who put the slides together, was very afraid. He says, wait, justice is too small. And I'm like, well, just one person wrote it down because they thought of friends first. There's a lot of justice stuff happening here, so don't worry if it's small. Folks just thought of their friends when they were writing it down. It's all important stuff going on here. But yeah, people most treasure communities, friendship, and people. So we're going to hear from 4 different church members, and in between each of them, we'll have a small verse of a song. We'll sing From You I Receive one time through in between each of the speakers. And we just practiced it for singing the kids to their classes. So I trust you're studied up on it. All right, so we'll be hearing from Bill Brown first. Oh, let's practice the song first. Good idea.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I am Bill Brown. I have been a member of UUCB for a little over 6 years now, which just seems crazy because it seems like we've been here just a few brief period. I am currently one of your board members, and even though I haven't been particularly active lately, I'm also a worship associate. Somehow having a baby means you don't have free time. Who knew? In the past, I have co-facilitated the Social Justice Chalice Circle and was a member of the Committee on Ministry for Reverends Christian and Kristen, and then later for Reverend Kat. I have had a lot of awesome experiences here at UUCB. I think I have shared this before, but the most important or impactful experience I had was sitting in the pew back there listening to Reverend Kristen in 2018 tell us that it is okay to be wrong. You are allowed to change your mind. Wow, mind blown. I think that was the beginning of a process that I am still very much in the middle of. I've changed over the past 6 years. UUCB has been a major part of that change. The Social Justice Chalice Circle created opportunities to hear and learn from different perspectives, from the lived experiences of others. I am a more patient person, introspective, a much better listener, and I am open to new and different ideas. Talking about politics, forgive me. If we're using the wonderful airplane analogy, I went from somewhere over the right engine to being on the left side of the fuselage in the window seat. I'm not way out there on the wingtip and the winglet. Some of y'all are pretty far out there. But I'm on your side of the plane. I'm looking out at the wing. Yeah, and I think I've shared this as well. I have to be honest. When I changed my voter registration to Democrat, I died a little bit inside. Oh my God. I'm a liberal. For shame. Like, oh my God. Yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow. This axial shift has not come without challenges. I don't know what my values are. I guess it's more like I have lots of different values, and they are in conflict with each other constantly. Do you know how strange it is to be both pro-life and pro-choice at the same time? It's really weird. It's strange. I could give more examples, but that's not why I'm here today. But it's really weird. And this place, UUCB, is where I'm going to figure it out, where we are going to figure it out. This is why we need to support UUCB. I am currently not in a position to make a commitment right now. I have a 5-month-old baby, so I don't have a lot of free time. Maybe next year, after I roll off the board and hopefully a new minister is settled, I would really like to find a way that we can foster open discussions and maybe even have a lively debate within Covenant. And so we here at UUCB can discuss and think about some of these issues that I or we may be missing, even if, it's just a different perspective. That's why I support UUCB. Thank you.
Good morning. Always wanted to do that. I'm Marta Toby, and it took me a long time to get to UUCB. After coming to Albany in the 70s, I thought of this church mostly as a place for music. I played my viola here several times in string quartets for memorial services. And I was in the orchestra for the centennial celebration in 1991. An oratorio written for the occasion featured a large choir and Joe Maxson as soprano soloist. At the time, I was busy raising 2 young boys and didn't see the need for a church community. I wish I'd known about the OWL program. I was raised in a UCC church on the peninsula, which my mother helped to found, but the Christian sacraments didn't speak to me, and I never joined. My younger sister attended seminary and was ordained and served several congregations before continuing her hospice work as a nurse practitioner. She's very glad I finally found a church. I went looking 11 years ago after a short battle with breast cancer. My mother died of cancer in her 40s, but she never had the support of her church, except for the minister, because she kept her illness secret for years until she died. These days, we are able to be more open about such challenges if we choose, and to accept the help of those around us. My friends had helped me, but I wanted a larger community, like my sisters. I did not have far to look, finding that sermons and personal theology at UUCB really filled a need for me. But I was shy about joining this large group who all seemed to know each other. So I attended the early service with a few others and left when the atrium started to fill up. It took about a year and the realization that the late service had better music to make the switch. Even then, I tried to be inconspicuous, knowing that eventually I'd need to step up and participate. Celine was the first to tap me on the shoulder, asking me to help pass offering plates. I was nervous and self-conscious, but pretty soon I was even ushering at the door and recruiting others for the plate passing. I was learning to go beyond my comfort zone and try new things. When we were virtual, I hosted Zoom coffee hours, and now I coordinate all the ushers. Several years on the Stewardship Committee at Anne's behest continued my education, working on a committee, writing notes, calling people I didn't know. Since then, I've been involved in pastoral care and the board nominating committee, both very rewarding ways to contribute and educations in themselves. It really is helpful to belong to a smaller group and have a role to play, Chalice circles are a great example. Within the clear guidelines of how to participate, I got to know a widening circle of people and to feel comfortable opening up about myself. I made several good friends and eventually co-led chalice circles with a couple of them. And there's music, of course. I waited years to come out to Brian as a violist, fearful of being asked to play a solo. So far, I've performed in several quartets with Brian or the choir, and my confidence is growing. Don't hold your breath for that solo, though. I will continue to enjoy the amazing work of Brian and Katya and our singers from the pews. I've also turned down other church roles which were offered and did not feel right to me. There are lots of different talents represented in this community, and a place for all. I think that's what appeals to me most here, the honest welcoming of everyone for who they are. I took my time to find my places, but there was no rush. I now realize that we don't all know each other, but we are here because we are open to the inspiration of being together and learning from each other. I love sitting down at coffee hour by someone I've never spoken with before and having them open a window into a new world. It keeps happening. We are a resilient group together, and the experience of church work also builds resilience in each of us. Hope, fellowship, acts of service, and for me, especially courage. After today, I'm adding speaking in a service to my list of scary new experiences. I have learned so much from my time here. I never in the world expected to be a church lady in my old age, but here I am, and I'm grateful.
So I'm a stand-in this morning for this part for a beloved member of our community, two beloved memories, Lonnie and Cordell. And I'm honored to be able to step in and share a little bit about what the church means to me. But I'm a little bit less prepared than the other speakers, so I ask for your indulgence. For those of you that are not familiar with my story, I lived most of my adult life in Europe, and I only returned to California in 2019. And that was after a period of a lot of life changes, difficult life changes, that left me about at the lowest point that I've ever been in my life. And when I came back to California, it was without a plan. It was without a vision. It was without prospects. And I left my family that are still in Italy. And one of my daughters is graduating from college this week. She attends the University of Venice in Italy. And she wrote a thesis about home. And yesterday she sent to our family members a little gratitude that she ended her thesis with, and I reflected on that and how that made me feel towards the church. And I'd like just to share a little bit from what my daughter shared with me and the meaning that it brought to me in my relationship with UUCB. And I read slowly and clearly because I tend to get a little bit emotional. Anyway, so this is from her thesis. Daddy, thank you for having shown and taught me the courage it takes, and sometimes it's necessary, to decide to return to live in one's childhood home after a whole life lived away from it, and in a country that, after all, is not yours and never quite belonged. But above all, thank you because you taught me that in the end, also that is okay. Thank you because you have shown me that love for one's family is the most unconditional thing that can exist. And that in the end, every change and upheaval you make and have made in your life, you do and have always done for me, Mom, and Mia. Thank you for being the dad with a child's soul and world-class confidence. Thank you because with your extreme thoughtfulness and attention to each other's well-being, you always make sure that Mia and I feel at home, even when we are on the other side of the ocean. I don't think that I would have managed if not for the church. Thank you.
Beautiful. Good morning. My name is Linda Laskowski, and a good whatever to those of you online that may not be in the Bay Area. There's an old joke that asks, what do you get when you cross a Jehovah's Witness with a Unitarian Universalist? Now, I was very interested in the answer to this because I was raised Jehovah's Witness and I had just started attending the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berkeley here. And the answer was, someone who goes from door to door but doesn't know why. This is one of the pervading stereotypes of Unitarian Universalism. That because we have no creed, we have no mission, no purpose, no values, and that is not true. As each of you who have been experiencing since you started coming to this sanctuary, it really isn't true. I felt that clear sense of purpose and mission when I walked in the door for the very first time. That was on August 19th, 2001, before anyone said anything. I immediately felt at home, looked around, and shocked myself by thinking, I wonder what it would be like to be a minister in this place. Now, a side note, once I found out what a minister really did, I stopped wondering that. Halfway through the service, delivered by the intern no less, I started to cry. Bewildered, I left through that door as fast as I could, wondering what the hell had just happened. Was this some sort of a mystical experience? And then 3 weeks later, when 4 planes crashed into fields, towers, and military headquarters, I had a place to come that was not filled with hate. But there was another stereotype that was teed up for me in another joke. This joke is about 3 offering plates that were comparing their experiences in their relative congregations. One was Lutheran, one was, I think, some non-denominational Christian, and the third one was Unitarian Universalist. So the first 2 offering plates, the Lutheran and the non-denominational Christian, were talking about how excited they got when they saw a $20 bill. And the UU plate was very silent and then finally asked plaintively, "What's a $20 bill?" The implication, of course, is that UUs were cheap, and I didn't like that. Research suggests there might be a kernel of truth to this. It turns out that at the time in the Pew Research, that Unitarian Universalists were the most educated and had the highest income of all the religions and gave the least to their congregations. But of course, I thought, we give to so many other things. The Nature Conservancy, Move On, NAACP, NARAL, Indigenous Environmental Network, Youth Spirit Artworks, Developing Indigenous Resources, La Peña, the Shumi Land Tax, Urban Tilth, all of those appeals that we give to, that I get and you give to as well. So smug in that knowledge, I read with interest a book that was published in 2009 by Arthur C. Brooks called Who Really Cares? Brooks, a self-described liberal, was out to prove that liberals gave more money than conservatives and did a review of every piece of data and research that he could get his hands on. His findings surprised him and me. Hands down, conservatives gave more of their income, whether as a percentage or total, than liberals, even if you left out their church giving. They also volunteered more. One of the reasons appeared to be that liberals believed in safety nets and government programs that address societal issues, while conservatives believed that that was better done by private donations rather than tax dollars, and gave accordingly. His findings were reconfirmed in 2021 in another study. Now, whether or not you believe the implications of this data, the lesson was not lost on me. I resolved many years ago to never give less than $20 to delight any offering plate, regardless of what church or denomination I was in. When the pandemic hit, I substantially increased that, not knowing which of us could continue to give. I also increased my pledge for the same reason. I realize many of us do not have the financial privileges that so many of us do. So this is not meant to be a guilt trip. We each give what we can. I give to this church not because I am rich, but because I can. And because over 20 years ago, I was given a sacred gift. I had come home.
Thank you. I pulled myself off stage, unfortunately didn't manage to share everything that I'd wanted to about what the church meant to me, and I'll just throw out a couple of things. I was coached by one of our other worship associates that when we come up to the lectern here, we share our scars and not our wounds. Unfortunately, sometimes when you get up here, you don't understand what you're sharing until it starts to come out. But when I first came to the church back in 2019, the very first service that I attended, they were having a naming ceremony for one of our beloved congregants, and I understood that the way that the church welcomed them and honored them, that this was a place for me. And the community here has been like family, and the church has been like home, whether it's here or I don't know if any of you have gone up to the Freestone property. Over the summer we had a number of visits up there, and the feeling of love and family that is felt here and is felt in those experiences up at Freestone is really something that is incredibly healing and deeply meaningful for me, and I hope for everyone else as well. Thank you. Now is the time to invite for an offering. And then in this way, each of us has the opportunity to keep our community vibrant. We're continuing to do the offering without passing of the plate. Instead, you can either give electronically by scanning the QR code on the back of your name tag, or you can put cash or a check in the envelope in front of you and in the pew in front of you and mark off there on offering plate or pledge and put it into the donation box that you'll find in the atrium. Each week, half of our offering plate is shared with a nonprofit Good Neighbor organization recommended by our Social Justice Council. We're grateful that you've continued to practice generosity with UUCB and our good neighbors through these difficult years. Your offerings of any value is always received with gratitude. Our good neighbor for this month is Richmond's Urban Tilth. Urban Tilth inspires, hires, and trains local residents to cultivate agriculture, feed the community, and restore relationships to land to build a more sustainable food system within a just and healthier community. With 7 schools and community gardens and small urban farms, Urban Tilth teaches and employs community members to grow, distribute, cook, and consume thousands of pounds of local produce each year. And that with this, they create a more equitable and just food system within a healthier and more self-sufficient community. Thank you. Please join me in dedicating our offering. We dedicate our offering and ourselves to the mission of this congregation to create loving community, inspire spiritual growth, and encourage lives of integrity, joy, and service. Thank you.
This has been fantastic being together today, has it not? So, can't have a service without some announcements, right? I just love the announcements. But we do have exciting stuff coming up. First of all, our stewardship campaign is going on right now. You can drop off your pledge at the stewardship table in the lobby, atrium. And also near that table is a table with a great big Lego chalice outline. That's our thermometer for the pledge drive, and it's getting filled in more and more each week as folks submit their pledges. So stop by, take a look at it, and see where we are in the campaign. Coming up this month, we have many things happening regarding the decision about the future of UUCB's Freestone property in Sonoma County. First of all, there will be a congregational meeting after the worship service on March 26th to vote on the resolution that the board has put forward to the congregation. Later this week, a packet with all of the official information and background will be coming out. That is very small. Okay. There are also a number of meetings just to help give space to engage in dialogue about Freestone and what folks are thinking about it. After the service today and next week will be a question and answer and information session here in the sanctuary and streamed onto YouTube. So go get some. I hear there are enchiladas this morning, but if you please eat and then come back for the Q&A. We'll be having that after the service in here this week. And there will also be on Zoom, a few this week and a few next week, dialogue sessions. Please take a look at the website and at the week ahead email and other emails that have gone out for the times and dates of those. Right. And I think there's a video to be shown now, which will hopefully be larger than the text there. Do we have a video? That says announcements. Okay, there's the video. please do come back in the sanctuary after the service for the information session on the Freestone vote. And now, how about we sing some? All right, we're going to be singing We Give Thanks. The words for the first verse will be on screen, and I will call out a phrase that'll change in each of the following verses when we get there. Please rise in body or in spirit. It's number 1010 if you want to look it up in the Teal hymnal. For this place we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. For all gathered here and those far away. For these songs we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. For all gathered here and those far away. For this love we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. And now we take our leave from one another. Before we gather again, though, may each of us bring happiness into another's life. May we each be surprised by the gifts that surround us. May each of us be enlivened by constant curiosity, and may we remain together in spirit and with love until we are together gathered again. Blessed be.